first things first. Let's have all our phone on silent mode, flight mode, all our phones on silent or flight mode. I'm aware that we may have some people, like Honorable Nicholas Panda, that may not have the phones that go on silent mode and IP. You can completely IP just turn them off, you know. So Frank can help you to turn off your phone IP. Number two, it's just maybe those who are behind there, please come in front to occupy the seats behind Professor Kawimbe, one of the greatest medical practitioners on the globe, our own Professor Boniface Kawimbe. We welcome you too. Prof. It's okay. Number two, it's a decorum. Decorum, what do I mean? There will be no noise, there will be no phones, there will be no murmuring or clapping until the speaker ends his or her presentation. In this case, their presentation, because they're both male. My good sister, Dr. Ponga, I'm always now very cautious when I'm addressing people, yes, because of my elder sister, Dr. Ponga. Okay. So, just to emphasize the point, in the midst of the presentation, there will be no clapping, there will be no murmuring, no shouting, and especially that I state that we have a very good and civilized audience today. So, just as well as come down, because we are hoping to bring it down to a level. So maybe meanwhile, leave it there. We can find some opportune time when we can fix it. But genius, we need to find maybe in Somali to push it in the wall. But for now, we can leave it there. We will find a way to. Soon, I will be calling on the acting chairperson of the party. This is our vice chairman, Honorable Kanema Harrington. Before I do that, I want to emphasize the difference of the Zambia Human Political Party. The people that we are going to see debate today, the intra-party debate, the two presidential candidates are not the head of the party. The head of the party is the chairperson of the party. And until recently, it was Professor Patrick Kalifungwa, the Vice Chancellor of this university. We are going to have the elections for the chairperson tomorrow, together with the presidential one, and a few other portfolios that were left out in the last election. You vote the chairperson of the party tomorrow, and the other portfolio positions, plus the presidential vote will happen also tomorrow. So the head, for avoidance of doubt, the head of the party, the Zambia River, is the chairperson. That is one of the few, among others, that are different, that Zambia River is different from other political parties. I am delaying just a little bit to give just an opportunity for our colleagues here to finish what they are doing behind the thing. We will need to find the most ideal position for this thing behind us. I can see that we have not done the movement. I don't want to see empty seats in there. So those of you behind there, please move this side so that we have no empty seats anywhere. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, good. I've seen some students joining us. Welcome to the students of Livingston University. All right. Okay, excellent. I have now the rare opportunity to invite our acting chair, Honorable Harrington, say a few words, and then I will introduce the panelists. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this rare occasion. For us as the Zambia We Want Party, we are a party which stands on democratic principles. Over the past 3 weeks, we have been undertaking democratic processes within our party, which has involved the election of National Leadership Council members, the chairpersons, president, secretary general, and every position within our party. We have promised the people of Zambia that we shall be a party which is democratic in every way, and every position will have to be contested. There is no one who can claim that they own or control the party. We want to be different from all other parties in this country. So we want to welcome those of you who have come to join us as part of our audience during this debate. It gives us also an opportunity to showcase to the people of Zambia that we are coming into this country in 2026 to lead the nation to a better and prosperous future. We want to thank Professor Kalifungwa for allowing us to use these facilities, which he has done over the years, in the formative years of the Zambia We Want Party. And we are grateful for that. Like our spokesperson or chair said earlier, we are going to hold elections even for the chairperson. So all those positions for us is open for contestation. But let me just explain a bit what has happened to bring us to this point of debate. As I said, during the past 3 weeks or so, we have had elections of different officers within our party. And the last time we had the elections last week, we had 5 presidential candidates. Out of those 5 presidential candidates, none of those could garner 50% plus one votes. Our party demands that for anyone to be leader of our party, they must garner at least 50% plus one vote. So the 5 candidates did not achieve that. None of them achieved the 50% plus one votes. So it now left the 2 leading candidates, number 1 and number 2, during that election to go for a runoff. Tomorrow, the 3rd of October, we shall be conducting that runoff between the 2 presidential aspirants. To give an opportunity to the members of the party, but as well as to the nation, to see the type of leadership we are bringing to the country, we decided to have a debate between the 2 presidential candidates. As I said earlier, this is rare in most political parties in this country. But we are not one of them. We are a different type of party. And the programs we want to bring to this nation are tailored to affect the livelihoods of our people. And it has to start within internal processes. So we want to ensure that our people see these candidates and hear them out. And even as we be voting, especially for the members of our party electoral college, you would then be assessing these people, not on their individual, or based on your friendship with them, but on the qualities that they bring to the party, on the qualities that they bring to the nation. So that even when we go to the 2026 elections next year, we know that we have a candidate we can serve. And that's the reason we have come here. So let me just take this opportunity to invite our 2 presidential aspirants so that they can come and sit here. I'll invite Honorable Kapemba Simbao. Please welcome him. And let me also welcome Honorable Ernest Sumwa. Please welcome. So these are our 2 candidates for our presidential election, which will take place tomorrow. And the big debate is between the 2 of them. So please welcome. And let me also say we have a renowned journalist who will be overseeing this great discussion. Please take your seats. So let me just invite Mr. Frank Mutubila to come forward and take over the proceedings.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Chair. And nicely done. In a few moments, you gave the synopsis and the depth and width of the importance of our party, more than Honorable Kanema. I didn't want to start with this veteran broadcaster and the son of the Reverend. I wanted to start with another vibrant journalist and broadcaster, and a vicious small leper in the media fraternity. This is no other than IP, Innocent Bill. Innocent Bill will come and just maybe in a minute or 2, but thank you, Chair, for introducing this renowned broadcaster and the son of the Reverend. This is a man who's been practicing in this field for more than 55 years. Before Gladly, I may have been a year or two old the time he started this business. So at least I've seen him around for a bit. My good elder brother, a diplomat, Ambassador Frank Mutulila, a born-again Christian. This is a man I'm proud to call my elder brother and a fellow diplomat, Walker, once more. A round of applause to the team. At this point, without much ado, I want to now hand over to this vicious, young leper, Ivy, over to you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning once again. Thank you so much. And allow me to start by acknowledging the big people in this auditorium. Of course, Ambassador George Chilumanda, who is also in charge of the matters to do with foreign affairs and international relations. He did mention and gave preambles to each one of us. So I do take my position with a lot of pride in it, because if you talk about my father, my uncle in Ambassador Frank Mutulila, these are the people we looked forward, at a time when we were growing, some of us, that one day I want to be a journalist, a TV broadcaster, because of people like him. So I've got so much respect for him. I wanted to make mention that Uncle Frank. Furthermore, as we begin the program, I will be here as the co-host or co-moderator of this program, the Zambia We Want Presidential Candidate Debate, which is being held right here in Lusaka, Zambia, Leutbem University or Leutem University, whichever pronunciation you can give it, provided we meet somewhere. Good morning once again. Ladies and gentlemen, remember that this program is being televised live on a KPN TV, as well as movie television, and indeed other media, social media platforms. So as you are here, take note of that. In case you want to doze at some point, just know that you'll be live on camera. For those who may not be comfortable on camera, you may have to sit somewhere where your face will be hidden. Otherwise, Joseph there and the team, they will just end up capturing you. All right, so be ready for that. Let me make mention one thing as I hand over the microphone to my boss, Ambassador Frank Mutulila. That when I was growing up, and indeed when I joined the media about 19 years ago, at least my little experience of 19 years ago in the media industry, I looked forward. I was having a dream that one day I should live in a Zambia which is going to be peaceful, number one. I shall have a Zambia which is going to be favorable for all of us, whether short, tall, giant, or whatever muscular you may be. That's the Zambia for me I've been looking forward to, regardless of your political affiliation, your tribe, and everything. We wanted to have a Zambia which is going to be safe for all of us. And 2025, the Zambia We Want Party was formed. And I remember I was one of the journalists who went to cover the launch of the Zambia We Want on the 3rd of July, thereabout, if I'm not mistaken. We covered this event. Then when this political party was formed, we said maybe the Zambia We Want will be given to all of us in the future. Hence the reason why we are here today, to see who is going to be the presidential or the head of that political party. So I'm sure all of you are quite happy. I've seen bigger names in here. I talked about Ambassador George Chilumanda. on a lighter note, if you went to Eastern Province, Chilumanda is a relish. You know, ask Joseph there, he will tell you. Again, Joseph was reminding me that if you went to Eastern Province again, on a lighter note, Mr. President to be Honorable Ernest Mwanza, on a lighter note, of course, if you checked Chitumwa there, again it means something else in Eastern Province. That's in our own language, right? Ni Mangwala, for example. I'm just giving an example, so that you know that I understand my culture very well. But of course, since we're here, Chitumwa remains as a surname to one of the presidential candidates. All right. Of course, I've seen the man I used to cover when I was quite some years back in the name of Honorable there, the big man, the labor who served as a labor minister. Yes, we welcome you as well. Thank you so much. We've seen Mr. Very instrumental man and quite vocal, fearless man in Brevina Changala. Thank you so much. You're welcome to this, a debate as you come to witness. Professor Practical Fungwa, these are people that we knew and we served this country so diligently. I will not waste much of your time. I'll keep on introducing the people I've seen in this audience because you all deserve the respect that you've earned for over the years. But suffice to mention that you've all come together, people with likable minds, people with intelligence and experience. And we said this country cannot be left in the way it is. Let's come together and give the people of Zambia the Zambia we want. So with that, permit me to invite my father, my boss, my mentor, as well as my uncle, who is the MC or Master of Ceremonies, or rather the moderator of this program, in Ambassador Frank Mutubila, a man who has struggled for this country to make sure that the media industry remain afloat. Here he is today. We are now still learning from him. He deserves a lot of respect. And it's my hope and prayer that the Zambia we want, we continue applauding this gallant son of Zambia, the gallant son of Africa, Ambassador Frank Mutubila. Over to you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this presidential debate. First, I must thank the Zambia We Want Party for this innovation, enhancing democracy. That is what we want in our country today and tomorrow. Contestants, welcome to this debate and relax. First of all, it is important, although the chair introduced you, that you introduce yourselves and tell the people here, the nation, who you are and why you want to be president of this party and perhaps president of this country. Mr. Mwanza.
Good morning to each one of us here, including myself. I have been told to relax. Can I say the same for you? Or is it relax? My name is Ernest Mwanza. I hail from Luapula province. I was born on the Copper Belt, but I started my grade 1 in Chikue village, that time it was Rwanda district, but now it's Chikonamuni. I did my secondary school in Chingola, at Chingola Secondary School, and went to was a member of parliament for 15 years. I just decided to rest. I was not defeated by anyone. During that period, I was also Deputy Minister in the Ministry of Energy and Water Development. I was also Deputy Minister in the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting Services. I worked with the renowned broadcaster at one time. I was also in the Ministry of Health as Deputy Minister of Health. Apart from that, in Parliament, when we were now in opposition as Patriotic Front, I worked as what they are calling now the Deputy Speaker of National Assembly. In addition to that, in terms of the judiciary, I also worked as one of the members of the Judicial Service Commission. So I have worked in every arm of government. And I think that I do have that knowledge to understand what's going on in our country. The question is, why do I think I could lead this country? And the first thing I want to say is that, first of all, every Zambian can lead this country. We should not look at the presidency as some miracle institution. Neither should we see the president as more than a human being. Every leader we see was born the way all of us are. The only difference is that people at a given time entrust us with that authority to run the country. And that's why for me it is extremely important that you, as the people who will be voting, take into account this fact, that the person you vote for must be one who respects your vote, not uses the vote for themselves. It must be a person who is not making promises that look grandiose, but a person who has understood the problems of the country. And I come to you this morning with the background of having looked at government for 15 years, plus the other years that we were just analyzing what's wrong with our country. And I can assure you that having been in government, having been at National Assembly, and having been part of the judiciary, I know what is wrong with our country. Poverty is a creature of political mistakes. When a country is not developing, don't blame anyone other than those that created the policies that lead to poverty.
Please be brief.
Thank you. And consequently, I am saying this, that when we are looking at each other, let's look at each other from an angle where this country matters more than ourselves as individuals, where this country is better served by those who fear the people who elect them to power. I present myself to you this morning, having been tried. I have stood to challenge government, even my own government, when they have gone wrong. I have stood to help change certain things in almost every ministry I've been in. Whether we are talking health, you are talking broadcasting services, Zambia broadcasting, information and broadcasting services, or whether you are talking energy and water development. At least wherever I've been, I've left something you can look at. In addition to that, and as I see, I am one of those who stood up against the third term, in spite of the fact that Dr. Chiluba came from my province, and I was the only one from Wakula, because I was convinced that the third term was going to undermine our country. I also stood up against my respected brother, the late Vasata, when he refused us to obey the law. And I told him, for as long as the law is met, we have to obey it. So I have been tested through these experiences. And I can assure you that given a chance, I know what's wrong with our country. And the major problem of our country is the need for development. It is the need for good governance. Without good governance, we will not develop. When we put selfish people in power, you can be assured that they will undermine us. And for this party, I have been with it from the beginning.
Please be brief, please. I'm in control.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Just tell me when the time is up and so I've been with the Zambia one from its beginning. It started as Zambians for Empowerment and Development until we transformed it to the Zambia we want. I've been there and we have transformed. We promised democracy. And here we are, challenging each other within the party that we did. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me remind you. Let me remind the contestants that you have got 3 minutes in a maximum, per question. Please, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kapemwa Simbao. I am 66 years old. I am married with 5 children. My academics, I started school in Mansa, Chakoko Primary School. Some of you know it. But I moved around, dotted around, went to Ballot, Chingola, and finally settled in Dola, Kabushi. That's where I finished my grade 7 from grade 9 from grade 5 to grade 7. Then I went to Chihuahua Secondary School. That's where I did my secondary school. Then I came to Yunza and did my engineering. I'm an engineer by profession. I've also done a master's in engineering. And I'm about to conclude my PhD in engineering. My work experience, I've done all my professional work as a method. I went there as an electrical engineer. Because of hard work, I was promoted to production manager. Because of hard work, I was promoted to production, control, and planning manager. Because of hard work, I was promoted to plant manager. I'm the first Zambian to be plant manager in Zambia. Because all these times, Zambia was being run by Americans, Phelps Dodge International Corporation. So they had reserved general manager, plant manager for Americans. I was the first to be made plant manager. And I have a big record there. If you talk to some of the old people there, they will tell you about it. Because I served the company. As plant manager, I doubled production. We were 300 metric tons company. We became to 600 metric tons company. And that wasn't a simple thing to achieve. I ended up as a project manager. Because when they completely privatized the method was Phelps Dodge and government. When they completely privatized, the new owners decided to bring in their own plant manager. They put me now as project manager in charge of $2.2 million modernization. That's how I ended up in Zambia. In politics, I've been as a branch secretary. When I was branch manager, I joined politics as a branch secretary, and I loved it. And I know how to run branches. I was a branch secretary for 6 years. When I became an MP, I was vice deputy chairman for a district for 5 years. Then I became secretary general of the MT. I was there for a year plus. So, running politics, I'm very well versed with how you run politics. Political positions. I've been Deputy Minister, Commerce, Trade and Industry, Deputy Minister, Presidential Affairs, State House, Deputy Minister, Health, Deputy Minister, Finance. Then I became Cabinet Minister, Works and Supply, Cabinet Minister, Health. Now, Works and Supply was under Mr. Monawas. Health under Mr. Pierre. Transport and Communication under Mr. Chagwaung. So I've served under 3 presidents. In total, I was in Parliament for 20 years, continuously in one constituency. And believe me, you can call Sengayo constituency, and you won't find anything bad against it. The only reason why I didn't stand in 2021, unfortunately, those of you who understand the they were saying, Akokola. And that was the only thing, nothing else. You can call Sengayo. So, I'm trying to work with the Zambia one because I'm a listener. I love listening. And after listening to you, you can have a solution. It's not that my solutions are the only ones that are right. No, and that's why I listen. And at the same time, I'm a team leader. I want us to hold hands together and move together. Not I myself in front and the rest are behind. I don't want it. And it's for that reason that I've been this successful. That I've expected. Thank you.
Thank you. I see that if we're going to stick to 3 minutes, each question will be here forever. I'd like to reduce it, timekeeper, to 2.5 minutes per question, and then you'll have a minute for rebuttal. You'll be asked different questions, each of you, but you can take advantage and exercise, rebuttal. The first question to Mr. Mwanza. What is your national agenda, and how do you hope to realize this agenda? 2.5 minutes.
Thank you very much. The national agenda that I hold is the national agenda we have agreed as the Zambia we want. We have worked on a manifesto that outlines the things that we want to do for the country. Of course, there are timelines. If we are elected, we will have only 5 years. And I'm one person who respects the people's mandate. And I can assure you that within the first year, we should be able to deal with some of the fundamental things that require change for this country to move forward. Namely, the need for constitutional change, once and for all, driven by the people of Zambia, is something that people have wanted all this time, and we have never given it to them because of selfishness. You can see what's going on. They want to be bringing behind, you said it again, showing that they still are selfish, they still want what they want. We shouldn't do that. We need a constitution as quickly as possible. We have a challenge of electricity in the country. How can a nation develop if we do not deal with the problem of electricity? We have water, the sunlight is always there, whether it's in June you are talking about or December. Why are we not changing? It's because people have not prioritized the things we need. Look at the mines. What are we getting out of the mines? Very little money, less than 5% in most cases, is all the money we are getting from our own resources. And these are resources that are going to end. Look at the tribalism that's going on. And why should Zambians be subjected to this mess? Why? I asked the question, why? No one knows who he or she will be born from. Why should the person being born in a particular region of our country be disadvantaged by a system? We can deal with that problem and deal with it. Why is it that jobs are going to certain places and not others? It's simply that the laws are not there to protect every region of our country. And we need to do that as quickly as possible, so that every Zambian benefits from what we have. And we can do it, and it is not difficult. Those things I'm mentioning do not cost money except for the Constitution.
Time out. A quick rebuttal to that. 1 minute.
Well, of course.
Please remain seated.
1 minute is too short.
Please remain seated. It's a rebuttal. Please remain seated.
The national agenda, as I look at it myself, is the issue to reduce poverty in this country and also bring up the figures of employment. We must work on employment. Now, I tie poverty to poor leadership, to bad leadership. That's what I tie poverty to. And I'll tell you why. If you look at Singapore, China, South Korea, Malaysia, Taiwan, these were poor countries. All they did is just a change of leadership, and that disappeared. The most recent one is China. Deng Xiaoping. You know it, 1979, that's when he came into power. And China changed. So I tie leadership to poverty. And poverty is what is driving our people mad. That's what we should address. And that goes to leadership, which is the leadership we, as Zambia, we want, are trying to offer this country. For once we can change leadership and break whatever yoke that yokes us to this thing and be free and take a different direction.
Thank you. Your question now, Mr. Zimbo. We've talked about leadership, and the two you gentlemen are striving to lead this country. The people you lead also must participate in leadership. How are you going to ensure these people seated here and the people out there in the country participate in leadership? 2.5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr.
Please go ahead.
Leadership is a very capacity. You can't be a leader by yourself, alone. Leadership requires numbers, people, to be with you. And leadership is at different levels, stages. There are people that will work with you at very high levels and people that will work with you at the lower levels. However, every leader must be developed. If a leader is not developed, he's not going to perform in the manner that he should perform. So for me, the first thing to look at is the human resource. Where are our people today? And we know that right now, our people are very bad concerning their education status in most of them. Once we have brought up this education status for everyone, people can find work in any position of government or business. So the approach here will be that, first of all, we should determine where are our people. Because everyone must be busy doing something. And the only way government can do that is to take interest in knowing where our people, what do we do for them so that they can participate in what we're trying to do. The jobs and the works and the projects, they are always there, as we have seen. But in most cases, our people can't participate. So for me, as a president, I would love to see that everyone is engaged in something. That's the only way I know we can push this country forward. If we don't engage everyone, we leave out some of the people, for whatever reason, we are not going anywhere. If anything has to work, it has to be all of us together. So, we are going to look at programs that are going to look at projects that are going to target the women. We need the women. The women have been neglected for a long time. We need them now.
Wind up, please.
The women, the youth, and the differently able people. Thank you.
Thank you. You've got 1 minute rebuttal to that, Mr. Mwanza.
We have changed leadership in this country before, and we are still in trouble. So it cannot be leadership, it must be ideas. Things that people have seen have not worked well, that must be changed. That is the issue at play now. Leaders must obey some document which they must follow in order for us to achieve what we want. We should not be promising people things we cannot do from a document people can see. So I'm saying this, that leadership change must go with the ideas they are bringing in. We were all excited when new PND came into power. we are all crying today. But that was a change of leadership. So we need to be clear that change of leadership alone has never worked anywhere. It is the ideas that you put on pen and paper that you must implement that indicates whether the country is moving forward or not. So for me, if you choose me, loyalty to the promises we make to our people in our manifesto is primary. And anyone among us who doesn't do that undermines what we have come together to do as the WW.
Thank you. Remember, for your question, Mr. Mwansa, again, governing the nation depends on other arms of governance, like the judiciary, like parliament, and related institutions like the police. People are saying these have been weakened. How are you going to strengthen them? 2.5 minutes from now.
Thank you very much. That's why I say the first thing we will do is constitutional changes, starting first year. Because most of these things depend on that document for true change. When the constitution is strong and is accepted by the people of Zambia, then the laws will begin to make sense. Then people will begin to obey the law. Then those who enforce the law will ensure that people obey the law. And there will be fairness in the country. So that is why we need to be very clear what we do the first 1 year in office. And that must depend on what we have promised people in our manifesto and how we roll out that program of action. When we are saying the Constitution, we have already said it in the Constitution that we will change it. When we are talking about the Anti-Corruption Commission, we've already said we need to change this. These are matters of law. The changes do not take place in a void. They take place in an orderly society which obeys the rule of law. And we need to be clear. We need to be sure that this is what we are going to do as the Zambia we want. We can't be the Zambia we want if we cannot change the things we don't like, because we will also be changing chairs only. So it is important, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, that we are clear-minded about this issue. Resolve to change the law.
Thank you. A quick rebuttal, Mr. Simba.
It's obvious that the separation of powers, these three arms, is very critical for this country. This has been discussed and discussed, and it has not happened. And the Zambia One Party wants to promise the Zambian people that this is what we are going to do for a lot of reasons. One, first of all, Parliament with the executive in there is not Parliament. It's a rubber stamp. And everyone knows that. So the only way you can have a Parliament that is going to talk for you is when you remove the executive out of it. So it's obvious to us as the Zambia we want that this is something we must do. The judiciary, you see, we can't get very big investment in this country if there is no justice. We can't. You can do whatever and say people have promised me like we're veg, and they won't come. Because when they're here, there's no justice here. They'll bring their money and then they'll lose it. So this is something that as a Zambia we want to have.
Remember, for the next question, if there's something which is endemic in this country, which is undermining economic and social progress, is corruption. What blueprint do you have? 2.5 minutes.
Corruption is really a shame. It's something that is reducing all of us ashes. All of us. And I wish I was talking to students who at least have a life to live a bit longer. Because corruption does not develop anything. Yes, it will take an individual up, but it will leave about 100 people completely down. Corruption is something that we must get rid of. And the way to do it is to start with the heads. If you have a head, or let me say, in the time of President Mwanawasa, there was no corruption. Because it was straightforward. It didn't matter if it was just some, people whispering or whatever. He had no time for it. He had gone. The problem we have today is that the people that are in power tolerate and say, bring evidence. But evidence is very difficult to find by the person who is talking about it. So the best way to handle this thing is to nip it in the bud. You hear this person is corrupt, whether they are wrong or right, just take them out. Let them prove themselves. If we continue being lenient because maybe it's my vice president or maybe it's my minister, we're going nowhere. Corruption is a very bad-headed thing. It corrupts badly to the core. And you, the same person who is the boss, you're also corrupt. Because you shouldn't entertain any talk of corruption in your government. So, we're going to start with the very first people. We are coming to the Zambian people, by the way, with 3 names. I've told you in how many places I've worked, and you never find a single thing against me. And that's how I would love to see this government of our country progress. So, corruption is something that we shall deal with very harshly.
Thank you. Mr. Mwansa, quick rebuttal before the next question.
Thank you. The blueprint is simple. Let the presidency get out of the corruption issues. That's the issue. The law is there. But the law cannot be enforced because there are political pundits who are undermining efforts to deal with corruption. That's the problem this country has. And I'm saying, should you choose a person like me to become president, just know that you will not be protected by me, because I won't have the power to do it if I want. That's why we're talking amending the law. For as long as people fear that the head of state will interfere in the corrupt cases, we have a problem. It will not end. Because it becomes a political weapon to deal with others whom you don't like, while others you like and go scot-free. So I am saying this. It's a matter of law, and the presidency must get out of the corruption.
Stay there for your next question. If there's one institution that can make or break the electoral process, and indeed the country, is the Electoral Commission of Zambia, how would you manage ECZ?
Thank you for that question. Again, it's law. The choice of those who lead that institution must be by law, first of all. So that again, the head of state does not get into it. This is the problem of our country. There's just too much power given to one individual. And the end result is that they grow into demigods or messiahs. What we will do is ensure that the choice of those who are in the chair, those who run the electoral commission, are independent of political leanings. They are independent from politics. They are chosen on merit from institutions that are non-partisan. So that their job is to ensure there is free and fair election. And the reason is simple. In a democracy, what keeps us away from fighting and killing each other is that we wait for the day of the elections to sort out the mess of those who don't like political. And if that institution is undermined, like it's getting undermined, we run the risk of tensions, chaos, and fights in our country. We don't need that. We just need to ensure the law, and the law takes precedence in our country. And that the parties, political parties will get into power, do not undermine institutions of government like the Electoral Commission of Zambia. That way we will be assured that the country that waits for democracy to take its course. Short of that, I can assure you, sooner than later, we may find ourselves in chaos.
Thank you. Let me remind the contestants, and if you feel you have covered the question in 2.5 minutes, and you don't have to utilize the entire 2.5 minutes, your rebuttal.
Yes, once we separate the two arms of government, to be very reasonable. Right now, it's because only one arm of government superintends everyone. The ECZ must be independent. But if the president sets up, so first we separate the three arms of government. Then we can deal with the independence of the ECZ. Otherwise, nothing else will solve this. If we still leave the executive strong as they are, nothing will change, no matter what else we do. So first of all, let's separate these three and let them sit in their own places. Then we'll say, ECZ must sit like this, and it will sit. Thank you.
Stand there for the next inaugurations. And we come to the economy and social delivery. The economy is the elephant in the room. This government has achieved 6% economic growth. But people are saying this is not enough. How can you enhance economic growth to ensure social delivery and indeed respond to the Zambia that you want?
Thank you. First of all, everyone knows that the economy sits on one very big issue, and that is energy. If you have no energy in your country, nothing is going to happen. So it's difficult to even appreciate that we are talking about 6% growth when we have got the problem of energy. So the first thing to sort out to really deal with the economy is to make sure that energy is available. Now, right now, the only people that can talk about having energy is the mines, and that's where that growth is coming from. But the mines is not the only industry that we have in this country. So, first of all, we must sort out the issue of energy. I hope we shall come back to this because it's a big one. We need to explain it properly. How are we going to sort it out? So, first of all, we should sort out the issue of energy. Once we sort out the issue of energy, industry will run. We need, in fact, I must say, we have all the necessary personnel, trained, skilled personnel that can run our industry. We need to rebuild our industry. It's what it was in the 70s when we were frustrated. Then we had almost anything that you can dream of, maybe here in Zambia. Almost. You can say whatever you want, almost, except maybe the oil. So we need to go back to that stage where we can revive these industries. Just basing our hope on the mines alone, first of all, our mines are poorly performing, and I will let you know why later when we talk about it. It's not possible for us to grow the economy. It's not. We're a trading nation, you know? We are not a productive nation. We're a trading nation, meaning we're the ones who people losing the dollars as the others just send us the goods.
Thank you. I will exercise my power and remind you, my co-director, that towards the end we revisit, the economy because it's extremely important. Your quick rebuttal.
Thank you. Yes, energy is extremely important. But the issue is how do we do it? Because everyone knows, including the government of the day, they know that we need energy in the country. But what are the programs in place to ensure we have energy? How do we do it? How do we ensure that we have this? And the answers lie in what we have written in the manifesto. Begin by ensuring we do a lot of solar work. Begin by ensuring that wherever we have a force, we also have a little power station there for it. These are things we can do with cooperative partners. Not everything will be done by us, but the practicality of it lies in the policies that we put in place and the policies that we have in our manifesto. That is extremely important. The economy itself, as it is, can be buoyant within a very short time if the leadership, again I say the leadership, accepts the reality that in order for us to grow our economy, we must begin to take charge of what belongs to us. And when others come to invest in our country, they are investing in such a way that we are benefiting from what's going on. And I think I've said it before. If we go into government, and I am the president of my party, all the deals that have been done, which we question, like the Vedanta, we will renegotiate them if they don't want to get them back. We must be very clear what we want to do.
stay where we are and we maintain the theme of the economy and revisit, what Mr. Simba, alluded to, the mining sector. The mining sector, this government is saying it's growing. Production, is growing. But there's no trickle down to social, delivery. Your answer to that, 2.5 minutes.
I agree. The mines are growing, but for who is the question? It's for the investor. It's not for the Zambians. The GDP is growing, but for who? It's for the investor, not for the Zambian. And the gist of the matter is until we take charge of our own resources and begin to demand a fair share out of what is getting out of our country, we will not develop the economy. It doesn't matter how buoyant it looks. People will still be hungry. Zambians will still be needing food. It's so sad that a country as endowed as Zambia can have its citizens poor everywhere. But it is, again, it's a management issue. It's a policy issue. It's a government issue. We are not demanding. And we have this, I don't know what's wrong with us. We have this feeling that when an investor comes, there are great men or women we should not charge. On the contrary, everyone in the world makes sure that negotiations are done in such a way that they benefit from their own natural resources.
Thank you. Mr. Simba, in your rebuttal, could you also include how you're going to deal with the management of gold? This government is saying if they've an answer by empowering artisans. Quickly, your 1 minute.
The mines is a very important thing, first of all. And I want to bring you to Chile. Chile, who are like us. Chile owns 100% a mine called Codeco. And this Codeco is one of the biggest mines in the world. It produced 1.4 million tons last year. The biggest mine above that one is Ascension, which produced 1.6 million tons. If we don't own the mines, let's not be shy about it. We are going nowhere. Let's not be shy about it. So we as the Zambia, we shall have to push this agenda. We shall have to really reclaim some of our mines, not in partnership, no. Chile is happening. Don't take me to United States. Those people, you see the difference is this. Those people make money there and it remains in the country. These people make money and they take it out and they leave us with falls. What are we going to tell the future? So we must push this agenda. No one should stop us. So it goes with God. I know that we are putting God as a means of backing the kwacha, which is very good because that's what every country does. So we are on the right path.
Thank you. Stay there. Where we are hosting, we're being hosted here at Lutherland University. There are, our midst, students obviously looking at the future and wondering, do I have hope? Do I have hope in terms of employment? We come to the employment issue. How are you going to address that, especially for the youths, especially for the women? 2.5 minutes.
Okay, this is a very innovative one. First of all, we have something like 7 million youths on the streets of various qualifications. 7 million. And there's no way, not even in the States, you can mop up all these people at once. It's not possible. So the only way to progress is this, to me. And that's the way we shall progress with Zambia quality. Is that first of all, we should reintroduce the national service. Now, I'll explain. This is not the national service as it was. I attended the national service myself. It's not the national service as it was. This is the national service in the police force, the protection unit. All these 7 million people can be trained to be in the protective unit. They will stay at home, coming for work, and they are paid as needed. instead of spending money as it was being spent in the National Service, ZNS. That's the first thing to mop up all these people. It requires time. So in this time, we must build training schools for skills in all the constituencies. So these people, when they finish their 2 years national service in the police force, these people can either go to other colleges or go to this specially constructed skills training. That will give us room now for employment of these people when they come out of those schools. We shall have started then infrastructure building, industry, and all those things. There is no way right now somebody can say, I can employ 7 million youths just like that. But if we go the national service way, in this protection manner, we are going to mop up all these youths that are standing around in the road. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mwansa, energy. Energy is the driver of the nation. For 3 years now, Zambia has been in semi-darkness. Industries have been affected. Small businesses have been affected. What is your answer?
First of all, the reality of the matter is that we do not have enough power, but we are still exporting the little we have. In a time of emergency like the one we are in, a serious government will have to ask the others to stop thinking we are going to send our power to them. There is an act of God at play, and every contract which you make must take into account what we call the act of God. For the simple reason that when a circumstance happens which you can't control, you should be able to go to the contracting parties and say to them, we can't fulfill our promise to you because we are in this, not Zambia. We are exporting power today to give it to others while our own businesses and industries are dying. That's crazy. But there is also another part. There is a lot of wastage going on. People are tapping power, which we don't follow up. They tap without zest for knowing. That's another problem. We need to solve that. But even more importantly is the whole issue of beginning new power electrical plants. We have the water. We have the sun, as I said. What is stopping us? China has overproduced solar panels. We can negotiate. If we want to borrow money, let's borrow for departments or for ministries that are productive. If we borrowed to set up power plants countrywide, that makes sense, because wherever that is set up, it means that we will have business and industry going. If we set up hydroelectric power stations, it means business. But even more importantly, we are producers of uranium, which is nuclear. And the states come here, they buy, and they take it to their homes. Why can't we negotiate that they give us at least one plant like that for the good of the country? We need these things if this country is going to develop. We can't do without power, and we need to be sure that we get it. And we can, because the resources are all here.
Thank you.
The issue of energy is very sad. First of all of you know that we have 3,800 installed capacity. We are only generating 1,000 megawatts. So we are missing about 2,000 plus megawatts. So we already have this installed capacity that we just need to show up, and we'll bring back the generation capacity. So we need to export power, and we need to make sure this government should have made sure that we bring back the generation capacity. Now, in addition to that, Northern Security alone, there is a potential of 1,340 megawatts, Northern Province alone. There is that potential. We need to go for that potential. Mamba Collieries, right now they are producing 300 megawatts. We need to jack it up. We have the core. We need to take it to 900 megawatts. And then we look for solar, like my friend has been saying. In solar alone, and this excites me, in solar alone, we can produce 3,400 megawatts. And imagine, our peak demand in this country is only 2,400 megawatts. 2,400 megawatts, that's our peak demand. So already, with all this power we have, we'll be exporting. And we should make sure that every nation around us know that we can export power. Because that will be part of the money that we need to get for this particular industry.
Stay on there for another, question, Mr. Simbao. If there's something again, which is important, is infrastructure, including roads. This must be familiar to you because you worked in a relevant, ministry. But let me just say something about infrastructure, especially roads. And we pay tribute to Michael Salta, I think one of the presidents who responded with a good blueprint in terms of roads. This government is saying they're on the right road, by providing, enlarging the Ndola-Lusaka, carriageway through public-private initiative. How would you address that?
First of all, the problem we have in this country is that all the people that construct roads are foreign companies. We have to stop that. There is nothing so special about constructing a road. There's nothing. It's just compaction, and you put the skin, which you call the tire. There's nothing else. So we need to prepare units, maybe 10 units, of our own people making these roads. Not inviting Chinese or Italians or wherever. Now, this road, the moderator has just referred to, I have heard a lot about it. People understand one thing. There is something tricky in making a road, and that is the specification. Unless you are told what the specification is, you can't say anything about the road. It's being made according to that specification. These people are boasting that it's a cheaper road, cheaper road. It's cheaper by specification. You better get that. That is the cheap and spray road they are making. It's not asphalt road. So understand. But we need our own people to do these things. Not to have people from outside. These are things, 60 years of independence. These are things we can do. I'm an engineer. We have produced a lot of civil engineers. So for us to break away from this yoke, we need to introduce our people. I'll give you an example. In Egypt, the army makes the roads. The Egyptian army. As, yes, the Chinese have come to make the roads and they will ship all the money out. And mind you, they overcharge on these roads. You find that if we had to do them ourselves, we'll pay very little money. Not even what these people are boasting about. So the Zambia we want, we have to break away from this system that has been existing, where people think we as Zambians can't even make a road. I can't imagine. So, talking about the Ndola carriageway, yes, I've been on it, but I can assure you, the way it has been going right now, I don't believe that would be very good.
Why not?
I could be wrong.
Why
I don't believe that would be very good.
Quick rebuttal on that, Mr. Mansell. And
Thank you very much.
And in your rebuttal, do we have trained human resources and funds to undertake this on our own?
Thank you very much. The first problem we have in the road infrastructure is corruption we talked about. Almost everyone wants to make some money from the roads that are going on. Consequently, the quality of the roads gets undermined. We need to deal with that problem. Otherwise, it doesn't matter what you do. For as long as corruption is a reality, you have a problem. But secondly, to answer the question from Ambassador today, we have qualified people to do these things. But we have not put a premium on Zambians. we find, I don't know why we find pride in bringing foreigners to do what we can do. It amazes me. But that is an issue of the decision of the government in power. We can do roads on our own. Nigeria is doing it, as my colleague was saying, Egypt is doing it. We can do these roads ourselves. But for as long as we do not deal with the problem of corruption, we will have this kind of problems. And let me say this about the due carriage. Anyone who can explain why we can borrow money from NAPSA and other local institutions, give the money to a foreigner who charges you extra money for doing the road using your money. It doesn't make sense. But those are the things that are going on. That is an example of the kind of corruption that is undermining our country. We need leadership that desires to change the norm, punish the wrongdoers. Even if they are my friends, they go to prison if they...
Please stand there for the next question, Mr. Mwansa. We go to agriculture. Agriculture still remains the biggest employer if done properly, and also ensures food security. This government says it's done well, and it has also facilitated the export of 500,000 metric tons. How can you take agriculture to another level so that it becomes perhaps the #1 economic program in the country?
Thank you very much. We all know that we need food. And a country that is not food secure is a very insecure country. That's the reality of it. And so agriculture is not something we do just to make money. It's something we do to survive. And that's why for me, I believe, as our manifesto clearly states, I believe that we can do much better than the government in power right now. Because we believe that we can empower Zambians who have land to do bigger than they are doing. Why? What is so difficult about ensuring that Zambians with land can be empowered? One of the things we have not done, or in fact we have destroyed, are institutions where Zambians can borrow money and grow their businesses. Agriculture is one of those. But we have depended entirely on what are we calling it? The fencing. That is all we are thinking of. We are giving people fertilizers without even seeing whether they have land on which to go and put that fertilizer. That's not how you plan development. You plan development by sending our agriculture workers into the field to come back and give us how many people have land and how much do they need, and we give it to them. That is empowering the people who do that work. Not all of us are going to do agriculture. It doesn't happen in any country. We must encourage those who love agriculture to do agriculture, empower them, give them equipment required for them to produce more. And we can do
Thank you. A quick rebuttal.
You know, agriculture is a shame to this country. You know, we have got 42 million hectares of arable land, and we're only using 1.5 million hectares of arable land. Can you believe that? If we can use even half of what we have, we can feed almost the whole of southern Africa. So how do we do it? First of all, we should change the way we do agriculture. You know, we are depending on the rains all the time. And yet we are told we have got 40% of water, all the water in southern Africa. But this water, we're not utilizing it. So we should change how we look at agriculture. As Zambia, would like us to do more irrigation than the rain-fed agriculture. So we shall feed this country and another export through irrigation as we wait for the rains. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay there for the next question. We go to health and education. Zambia's health system faces shortages, underfunding, corruption, name it. You worked in the Ministry of Health. This is not new. to you, what changes would you make?
First of all, at the time when I was there, this was not so magnified. In fact, I'm surprised that people can make so much money in health because I never saw it. So the problem that we've seen there, the things that have been reported, starts from the head and comes down to the very bottom. So if anyone has to change the way health is handled, is to ensure that the people you put in health at the top are clean. And this is what we, the Zambia we want, are saying. All of us that have involved ourselves in this party are clean people. And we would like minds to join us. We don't just want people, just because it's a job you come. No, we don't want to be contaminated. So the only way we can work out health, yes, the allocation is very small. 10% ahead of the budget, that's nothing. We're supposed to be eating 15%, 20%. And that's why you find that there's so much missing. We don't have the critical equipment. One of those is what they call PET MRI. We have an MRI, but it's nothing. We need a PET MRI. We need an angiograph. So we need this very special equipment to save our people. And of course, with this kind of corruption being reported there, it is very difficult for us to find this money to buy this. Medicines. You know, if you go to Kenya, Kenya is now fully self-supplying with medicines. Why? Because the government has ensured that the pharmaceutical companies there, they have been helped. We are not doing that. We are still relying on importing medicines, which becomes very difficult. So at the time I was at the Ministry of Health, for example, we almost said, let's start printing on all our medicines GRZ, you know, the tablet. So that if somebody is giving you that one or is selling it to you, at least you know that this is a stolen stuff. So we shouldn't be able to go maybe that far. What we need is proper training and put the right people. We should be sure this is the right person. Like my friend said, there is no friendship where thievery or thieves are concerned. If you're a thief, you're a thief. Period. And if people know that, they will refrain from their bad habits. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rebuttal. Rebuttal.
Thank you. Health is extremely important, but we have been starting from the wrong side of health with this government. We are starting with curing people, which is the last, I'm sure the Prof will agree with me. That's the last line of defense in health. When a person gets into hospital, there are only two things that happen. Either they are cured or they die. So you don't start there. Start by preventing disease in communities. And that is what we started doing, the professor will bear me witness. Well, that's why we went to board airports and things like that. It was to ensure that we take health as close to the family as possible. So we built up health posts to ensure that there is preventive medicine going on in our community. But when you centralize power like they have done, you undermine ability to do a good job. This is what has happened in our country. We need to rethink whether what is going on should be tolerated. For me, it shouldn't, because it undermines individual ability in local areas to do what they ought to do.
Thank you. Stand there for the next question. It is said a healthy nation, and indeed an educated nation, potentially it is a wealthy nation. This government today says education is one of its major priorities, and indeed they facilitated free education. What would be your policy on education, Mr. Wanza?
First of all, of course we will maintain free education. That's how I got educated, but not the way they are doing it. quality must follow free education. There was a time in our country when going to a government school was better than going to a private school. What has changed? Negligence, neglecting what needs to be done. You can't have 50, 60 pupils in one class with one teacher and expect quality education. We need to work on building infrastructure if we are serious about free education. Like Dr. Kaunda did. We must go on a massive building of schools, colleges for our children. That is where we should be spending money. Once we have educated our children, we have given them the power to think on their own and to be able to transform the country, even if we are gone. So we need free education, yes, but it must be free. Not when the only free thing about this education is that they don't buy, no, they buy everything else, but don't pay school fees. And you call it free. It's not free. I went to a free school, and I'm sure you bear me witness. We went with nothing. We were poor, going barefoot to school. But we found everything. There was a paper, there was a pen, there was ink. For the first time we used ink, there was disaster, but we were trained. And teachers are at the most 40 pupils to deal with. Let's be serious. We need free education, but we must put our money where our mouths are, so that our children can learn.
Thank you. Rebuttal.
First of all, we have really done things wrong in this country. Education is supposed to be the most important profession in a country, and we haven't done that. We need to try and bring it up to the forefront. Because everyone, engineer, doctor, whatever, you have to be taught by a teacher. So why should they be at the bottom? That's one. Two, right now there is 90,000 teachers on the streets. 90,000 teachers. There's no way government can operate like that. What are you doing? And if you go to a primary school like in my constituency, you'll be lucky to find 3 teachers. From grade 1 to grade 7, you'll be lucky to find 3 teachers. So the Zambia we want, those are the issues that we shall have to look at and correct. Thank you.
Stand there, please. We come to the last part, the economic part. Include it in your closing remarks. I'll give you an extra minute for that. The last part really is important. This is about national identity, patriotism. Today, people are saying the country is divided on tribal lines. How are you going to address this? And in saying so, is one Zambia, one nation at risk? Mr. Senator.
Thank you. The one Zambia, one nation is at risk because there are certain regions that strongly believe they are not part of us, which is very sad. And to those regions, I would say that go and read a book called Zambia, written by Mr. Harrington. It's found at the Parliament. It's going to explain all of us. And it was written in 1965. So there's nothing like being biased or whatever. So for me, I don't see tribes. I see people. My own family, my firstborn is married to a Tonga lady. And the other one is married to a Ngoni lady or something like that. And for me, all these people are my children. And so it will be the children that they will bear. Because now I don't know what you call them. Really, it's so difficult for people to look at tribes. When, believe me, if I met him in town, I wouldn't tell where he comes from. I wouldn't. So why does the tribe now become important? What we need is the minds of people. And if they can't do things, like invest, some people say, poverty of mind, we help them improve. so that they can join us in doing what we are trying to do. The issue of one Zambia, one nation, if it wasn't for that, like Honorable Mansa was saying, most of us wouldn't have even gone to school. Most of us wouldn't have even seen the electricity. Because when we look at the boundary of Zambia, all of us are just one people. And I pray that the time is coming when names won't mean much. And I believe it is coming. Because of these intermarriages, names won't mean much anymore. So really, if someone is belonging, like concentrating on thinking of the region, you are wrong. Please.
Rebuttal, Mr. Mansa.
I am from Luapula province on my daddy's side. On my mother's side, I'm from Northern province. One of my children, first my brother is married to a Tonga, and I have my nieces whom I love very much. One is called Kachimba. Did they choose to be born that way? No. That was the decision of the parents. So who has the right to challenge them and their right to stay in this country? When a person begins to talk tribe, no, they don't have things in the head. The grey matter. When Zambians are out of Zambia working abroad, they never look at tribe. They just look at themselves as Zambians, and they gather together, and they talk Zambia. So this problem is a creature of politics, because the politicians want to make sure that they have an area of influence from where they can get people. We must get rid of that by law and not allow it to continue.
Thank you. My final question, because of the time, because I would like members of the audience also to participate. My final question, in your closing remarks, include the following. What? You can write them down if you want quickly. One, can we revisit the economy again? Say something about the economy. How would you ensure a robust economy that will benefit all the 20 million Zambians, considering all these natural resources? Surely, should we be indebted, paying millions of money to date, when if you managed, I'm sorry, I'm answering your question, when if you managed emeralds, gold, mukula, or whatever, I mean, this country should not be in debt. This country is not poor. You know, again, without answering your question, the problem is greed, corruption. That really is the major problem, you know, of this country. You can close all the copper mines, gold, and just make money from agriculture. So, you know, please, we want you to educate us. And then, your first 100 days, what will be your priority? And finally, there is a clarion call that if one emerges as president of the Zambia we want tomorrow or thereafter, perhaps what the country needs is one president, you know, representing all the opposition political parties. Would you step aside if all the members of the alliance elected one person? Would you support that person? I start with you, Mr. Mansa. You've got more minutes now. I'll give you 3.5 minutes. But if you finish before 3.5 minutes, no problem.
The economy. It is sad that a country so richly endowed like our country can be counted among the poorest nations in the world. It's extremely sad. And believe it or not, it is because leadership does not prioritize it. They have prioritized themselves. And that is why for us in the Zambia we have said, let's create a manifesto on which people will judge us on the issues dealing with the economy. As Ambassador Mukuvila said, this country has gold, emeralds, sujilite, name it. How can we be poor? Someone explained to me why we should be in debt of over $18 billion. There will be no answer to that. Because God alone can get us out of poverty. We can clear the mess. We can use sujilite alone. We can use emeralds alone to get ourselves out of this debt mess. So what is stopping us? And I will tell you what the answer is. What is stopping us is because we are cutting deals, politicians are cutting deals with foreign investors in order for them to benefit themselves. That is not how you run a country if you love it. That must never be the way the country is run. Zambia must come first. The Zambia we want means business. We need to be able to tell the country that when we go into gold mining, it will be to get us out of debt. You don't need foreigners to do gold in your country. Gold only requires to be smelted and you have a pure gold. Why do you need foreigners for that? Emeralds are pure in the ground. Why do you need foreigners to run your mines of gold or emeralds? These are problems we have created because we are selfish people. Let me say this. Agriculture alone can take us out of this mess. So with all this, what's the problem? It's not only the good people being in government, it's also good laws. And the good laws have to deal with bad people, so that we sort them out. And bad people are even at the highest level at times. But the law must be blind to individuals and deal with everyone equally. That is what is not taking place. That is why our economy is in tatters. But even more importantly, when you create a constitution that shares power equally, you know what you have done? You have liberated the minds of people to think independently, think about themselves. Every head we have in here is a computer. And if it is allowed to be used to the maximum, every head will produce. And that's what we should be working for. That's why education is important. And I'm saying this to us. Let us begin to look back and lessons learned from the past be used to create the Zambia we want. The problem we have as Zambians is that we want to discard everything in the past. And the consequent result is that we lose institutional memories in our institutions. And we are always starting afresh. It's shameful. Nowhere do you do that and expect to develop. We are going to use the lessons of the past to develop the future. And our constitution and our manifesto has done just that. Our constitution has done just that. We have looked back. We have seen where the mistakes were. And we have changed things in our manifesto. We have changed things in our constitution. Development is about strategy. It is about us planning what we will do when we get to office. First 100 days, I have said 10 things need to be done without spending too much money, except for the constitution review. The law can be made to stop tribalism in its tracks within weeks. Because we just write it. The law can be done to distribute the jobs that are in public sector within a very short time, and every region will be represented in our government without wasting money. These are things we can do in 100 days, and if you give me the chance, first 100 days will be the busiest of all of you in ministry. Thank you.
The biggest problem in our economy is lack of money. People have no money. Zambians have no money. So the first thing you have to address is how can you bring money to the Zambians? We need to have people start what we call small and medium enterprises. But they have no money. So the best thing that one can do is to bring money to the Zambians. How do you do it? You do it by creating a local bank. If you go to any of these nations, even China has a bank of this, bank of this, bank of this, so that their people can access money. You can't access money from these commercial banks. They won't give you. They don't trust us. So the only way you can provide money for your locals, your citizens, is to create a local bank like what Zanaco used to be before. Totally Zambian run. And you spread it throughout the country so that all this money being put under the mattress is banked so that it's available for people with ideas to use. So that's the first thing a country must do. It must provide money to the citizens. And there's no other way you can think of getting money apart from getting a loan. There's no other way, unless you want to steal. But if there's no way you can get a loan, you are stuck. But if you have a local bank, a Zambian bank, there you find people that can give you the money you want. Yes, we have got all these natural resources, plenty of them, of which, like we are saying, because of mainly corruption, we are not seeing much out of all this. With that, we have the best emeralds. But believe me, I don't know how much of this we have benefited. And yet a lot of it has gone. Now we have gold. Now we have Mukula, although it's not being talked about so much anymore. But all these resources require the government, like the one we are trying to project to the Zambian people, which is clean, selfless, so that we can see all these things that are coming in the country and trickling down to everyone. Otherwise, we have a problem forever if we don't put in people in government who are not selfish. And by the way, I wanted to mention this. People think putting a rich president in government will solve the problem. It won't. Forget. If you look at all the successive presidents, you can start from any country, they're not rich people. They stand by their social contract. They make a social contract with the people that I'm going to do A, B, C, D, and judge me by this, not by my riches, no. And this is what the Zambia we want to do. We want to stick ourselves to the people and say, these are the things you should judge us against. If we don't do these things, in whatever time we give, take us out. And because we are credible people of integrity, we accept the Zambian decision. 100 years, 100 days. Everyone knows very well that if there is something killing the Zambians, it's hunger. At least that's what I know. The first thing that is killing the Zambians is hunger. Our kwacha has no value to buy anything to fill up a lot of people's stomachs. It's something that we need to work on. People, whatever money they have, must have enough value to buy something, not worthless. So that's the first thing we have to work on. And look, please understand this. Don't be told by any government that there is no money. It's a lie. And I'll tell you why. You have just seen they have increased CDF from 30 million to 40 million. Where do you think the money has come from? And that's the constituency. In my time, CDF was only 1,600,000 kwacha. And we used to be told there is no money. This government comes, takes it to 25 million, 30, now 40. So don't be told that there is no money. It's just that when they don't want to do something for you, they will give that excuse. So when I say that we will tackle hunger first, it's because the money is there. It's just how you want to apply it and where you want to apply it. There was an issue that how willing are you to give it to somebody else as a president? Please. most willing. Very, very willing. All of us are positioning ourselves, but believe me, this is not the best job. And whoever gets it must do what they have promised the people they will do. So if there's a better candidate, please, I'm ready to accept that candidate. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will close this part, and then my friend will continue for 6 questions or so from the public. But before my colleague, excuse me, contestants, before I close, first I want to thank the party for organizing, this debate, and I pray that other parties can emulate this, so that I am 73 years old, with 3 children. My firstborn is 50, my secondborn is 40, my thirdborn is 38. They've never seen the Zambia they want. That is why my 2 boys have been away from this country for many, many years. I have not seen the Zambia I want, the Zambia many people want. Like I've said, I'm 73, served this country for 55 years, 7 presidents. Since Kaunda, I've been crying every time. May I pray that one of you, images, or anybody else, to stop my crying, to stop the weeping of so many millions of God's children who deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. We may take our seats. That was a veteran journalist in this country, Ambassador Frank Motuila, inspired a number of us where media is concerned, as well as governance issues. And allow me to write on what he has mentioned to you, the 2 presidential candidates in Honorable Mwansa, Honorable Simbao, that indeed this initiative you've just come up with today is quite inspiring to many political parties out there. So I do agree with what Uncle Frank, Ambassador, has mentioned that. I was speaking to the SG yesterday, Honorable Muhawe Lungu, that there has never been a political party which has subjected its own members to these intra-party debates in this country. One can challenge me from the audience or maybe from the 2 presidential candidates. I have never seen that, apart from other countries like USA, where they do subject their own presidential aspirants to these debates. So this is a quite unique initiative that we've come up with. I mentioned further that I've covered a number of political parties, intra-party elections, where when you're invited, of course, I hope they will not penalize me and those who want to conduct this, convention of theirs. You'll find one presidential candidate who just emerge as unopposed from nowhere. No matter how big the political party can be, you just hear this political party or presidential candidate so-and-so has been elected as unopposed. That should not be the case. We should be able to subject these leaders to the general public for scrutiny, ask them these burning questions, as Ambassador Frank was asking. So we hope that other political parties who are watching this program and this debate will be able to emulate what is going on
and what has been organized by Ambassador George Chilumanda and the team. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to another segment of questions, and these questions will come from the audience. I will allow each of you who may want to ask a question. Of course, when you come here, you ask a single question. This question should be around governance of this country. Ask if you are going to direct a question to Honorable Mwansa, or maybe the candidate Honorable Kapekwa Simba, it's up to you. So please, this is how we are going to move. You walk from where you are, and you come and take a seat where Ambassador Frank was, for the sake of the cameras, to capture that question and capture you as well. Ask a question from here. But if you are not comfortable to appear on camera, I can follow you, or I'll ask Comrade Joseph to throw the microphone in the audience, and then you speak from there. They will still capture your sound. Is that clear? Thank you so much. So now the audience is free to ask questions around what is being discussed about the ongoing presidential debate right here in Lusaka, Zambia. Please, sir, you can come through to the podium.
Thank you so much, moderator. My name is Nicholas Banda. I'll ask a question, but the question goes to both the candidates. You are aspiring to become president under the Zambia world and eventually president for the nation. We have heard in the past so many promises made by individuals like yourselves. And after being elected, there is a gymnastic. You change completely. You don't follow what you have promised us. What makes you unique that you will not change? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope the two presidential candidates, you are taking note of that question or these questions. Then I will allow you to give a response to that. Any other question? You may come through, madam, or we come where you are there. Thank you. Can you pick up that microphone there?
My name's Auxilia Bupeponga. I want to find out, we are underrepresented as women in government and in society, but we also have an issue of tribalism at the moment. If you are made president, either of you, will you pick a woman or will you go according to the tribal balancing? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Monga, for that.
Let me have another question before we allow our speakers to talk.
That's Madam Sinyangwe here. Honorable.
Thank you very much. I would want to ask our president. My name is Faustina Sinyangwe. I'm the national chairperson for women for the Zambia We Want, and the former material member of parliament, and an educationist and a broadcaster. Thank you. I would like to ask our president, one thing that kills Zambia, that we end up with 30 people on the ballot, is greed. If you don't win, you go around talking evil about the person who won, and you want to destroy. You are going to elections tomorrow. If one of you loses, are you ready to support this party and stop thinking who didn't vote for me and start creating stories? I thank you.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to now call upon each of the presidential candidates to have a bite in responding to these questions. But perhaps these questions, they seem to be going to each one of them, so I'll allow them to have a bite. I'll start with Honorable Mwansa. Or let me start with Honorable Simbao there. I can see Honorable Mwansa is still writing something.
Honorable Panda, the issue of promises being broken. Promises are broken because the system involved in the past, which we are not promoting now, is where the president works alone. When he is voted in, it becomes everything. And so he takes advantage of that elevated position to just forego his promises. In the Zambia we want, that's not the way the president is going to be. As you know, and maybe people must know, we are pushing a situation where a president can be recalled. And that's why he's junior to the party chairperson. So a president who is like that, there's no way he's going to go back on the promises. He's not that superior. At least what we, the Zambia, we want to do. But the way things have been, yes, they have made it easier for a presidential person to change his mind because he's everything. And nothing can happen to him. But that's not what we want to proceed as a Zambia. We want a president will be checked very closely by the party as well as maybe by the parliament. So the chances of that president changing his mind is zero because he will lose that position. Dr. Ponga, your question is not fair. It's not a fair question. Look, first of all of us, and I used to tell this to my constituents, if there is, and please forgive me the name, if there is any important person in this world, it's a woman. And I used to tell the parents that please pay attention to your girls. We need them there. Not thinking that the boys are the ones that can do wonders. No. And some of you maybe are doctors here. You know, we have made with 2 ropes. One on this side, one on this side. 2 ropes. Okay? The men only use one rope. The women use both. That shows you how intelligent the women are. If you give them time, you don't use the children the way you use them. They come from school, they start sweeping, they start cleaning plates, they start while the boy goes to play. Your girl is too much under pressure. It can't perform. Give her the same space, and you find that she does wonders.
You may have to conclude, Honorable.
So, this question, if you have to go with the way it's supposed to, if a man is a president, it would be good to have a woman as vice president. But can we please make sure our women are educated? We have very few women. If you look in our party right now, maybe we have 5 women, and we have got the rest 40 men. So it becomes a bit of a challenge. Can we please encourage ourselves as women?
Maybe before you move away from that, the question is, peradventure you are elected as presidential candidate of the Zambia we want. You are at the helm of this political party, and an election is called next year, and you go as Zambia we want. Will you appoint a woman as a running mate or not?
Yes, that's what I said.
Thank you.
Mrs. Nyangwe, greedy. Unfortunately, this is something that we really need to educate our people. Losing an election is not everything. There are so many things people can do. Getting out of politics is not everything. There are so many things people can do. Don't think that that thing that you are now leaning to is all that your life is made of. No. I personally, I can lose and go away and do a lot of things. I'm not going to sit around mourning and, accusing people of whatever machinations and whatever. No. That kind of spirit, I think, must be rooted out of us. First of all, whenever we are standing with Honorable Mwansa, it will either be me or him. And all of us must understand that. And whichever way it goes, it's good. It's not bad. That man who takes over must know that now he's on the spot. He has to perform.
Thank you so much. Let's have Honorable Mwansa as well. I'll give him 3 minutes.
These presidents who make promises and after being elected, they change. Why are we going to be the same? That's the question this time. Let me begin by where we are today. The constitution we will go with in the next election is the old constitution. No one should cheat you about that, because that is the only constitution that is there for now to be obeyed. And consequently, the leaders we choose, particularly the president we choose, must be a person who is honest about what they want to do for this country. Because that power they will find in office. And they must stand up against it and remove power from themselves in order to give Zambia a chance to do what it wants to do to create the Zambia we want. That's the reality. So it's not about whether I want that or not, but that is what, if it's him, he will find. If it's me, I will find. My undertaking is this, that I've been very consistent in telling this country that the first thing I want us to do when we get into office is that attack this constitution immediately. Because it is what breeds all these problems. We need a people-driven constitution, a constitution that has been made by the people, because the president is an employee of the people and a creature of the people. Parliament is an employee of the people, the members, and a creature of the constitution. So the constitution must be supreme above all who lead if we are going to ensure that we have a country to deal with. And you need a president who is as honest with his words today as they will be when they get into office. This I can guarantee. If you take us at lip service, you may find shocks when we get into office, because that constitution doesn't pander to what our laws say in our political parties. And that is extremely important, ladies and gentlemen. I stand here to tell you that personally I am determined to amend this obnoxious constitution that has undermined our development for such a long time. Because in any case, we all know that it was a one-party constitution, and all people do is tinker with it so that they can remain with the power the presidency is. I don't want that power. I don't need that power. I just need to work with my friends. And I'm sure those of you who have been with us in the NLC, the National Leadership Council, will agree that I've at least tried to set an example and a precedent that you will have to challenge even if I am not the one there. That is the first thing I want to say. I think I've tried, and if you think I have not, please see me and tell me so that I can improve. But I've tried my best to allow all of us to say what they want, even to the interim president who has been made. Because that's what I want us to go and do in government if we are going to change things to suit us. Dr. Ponga, your question is extremely important and extremely difficult. Important in the sense that almost 51% or more are women in the country. Extremely important. You cannot ignore such a group of people. They must play a role.
I want you to wind up, Honorable Mwanza.
All right. So yes, there will be problems of tribalism to deal with when choosing. But I will tell you this. If I am the one, I'm not saying I will choose a woman. I am saying a woman will be among those. Because our constitution actually says the president will pick 3 names. It will not be upon me to tell you who the vice president is going to be. I'll give the names, and among those 3 names, there will be a woman at least. At the end of the day, the NLC must choose, because that's our constitution, and I will obey it. End up with 8 people on the ballot. Let me say this. For me, the way I see it, and what I've learned from the American system, is that when you are on top and another person comes, you must draw back to give your friend a chance to rule, for lack of a better term. Not because you don't want to participate, but participate in a way that does not undermine the ability of the new person to run things their way. Don't be where, if you raise a voice, they start wondering, is it bitterness that is driving this thing? Because if you do that, you are not helping the person who has been elected by the people. So yes, I agree that we need to reduce the number of people there, but we also need to be responsive to how systems work so that people can take over and the others.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to pick up another set of questions. You can come through, sir. We are running out of time. In the next 10 minutes, we have to close the program.
All right, thank you very much. And this question is your name. My name is Dr. Abraham. I've got 2 questions. The first question is, what opportunities for professional development and growth do you see for citizens, and how will you support them? I repeat the question. The first question is, what opportunities for professional development and growth do you see for citizens, and how will you support them? Question 2, what changes would you like to see in the education system to better prepare young people for the future? The second question is, what changes would you like to see in the education system to better prepare young people for the future?
Thank you. Are you a student, sir? No. Okay. Let me have 2 more people to come and ask you questions. The SG has got a question. Oh, Comrade Joseph. Okay, there's a... Okay, I can see hands there. SG, I'll come back to you.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Cleopatra Luo. My question goes to Mr. Simbao. You spoke about the small and medium entrepreneurs and how your plan is to bring money in the economy and with the small and medium. With that said, do we have a heavy taxes that are imposed on us are very, very heavy. I would give an example. If one wants to make a private practice, if you are a doctor, you can import an X-ray machine around $6,500, which is almost like 150 something thousand kwacha, and ZRA will come and charge you about 100,000 kwacha. That's very heavy. And I'll give another example of somebody that is a simple Zambian that is just running like a liquor shop. You need about more than 10,000 kwacha for you to get licenses at the city council. That's before ZRA. So I want to find out your plan on the taxes, even as you are looking at the entrepreneurs. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Esther Chimbila, a fourth-year student here at University. My question is, how do you plan to improve the lives of people in rural areas where poverty and limited access to basic services are prevalent? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's have Honorable S.G. Muhavilungu. He's got a question. Is that Honorable, you can come through here? Yeah. Yes. Can see you are able to run.
I try. Thank you very much. A pleasure to be here. I was watching it from TV and it looks very well. To both of the candidates, this question is addressed to. And I'm asking really just as an ordinary Zambian who believes in something so strongly. For me, as a Zambian, I believe that for the next election, no matter how strong any single party is, including my own, I think that the most feasible path to winning an election is to work with others. So I want to know from both of you, to what degree do you agree with me, or to what degree do you disagree with me? Thank you.
Yes, Jim, thank you. So we have the response from the two presidential candidates. I will give you 2 minutes to each one of you to quickly respond. Time is not with us.
Thank you. Opportunities for professionals and their growth. One of the things we obviously have put in our manifesto, and again, I am saying this to all of us, please let's read that document, because you must hold us accountable if we do not follow what we promise. One of the things we want to do is to create a bank that ensures that people can borrow money cheaply. Because if you can't borrow money cheaply, where do you find it? Of course, we do not have enough money because we have not been taxing the right people. We tax our own people. Poor people, poor workers are the victims of taxation, because I think it's easy to get money from the poor than from the rich. The guys who go away with huge amounts of money are those who come here as foreigners. What we need to do is get money from there and build up our own banks where our young people can go. But also training. There are things that are missing in our system. You leave secondary school, you go into tertiary. Generally now every institution is a university. There is a middle area which requires to be promoted again. You know, the artisans. Those are extremely important people to run a country. If you don't have them, you can't develop. That is as simple as that. And I like in Doga's view, look, young people must get into these things. We must promote them to ensure that our country develops. The education system itself, you know, we are taught what they call an education that is like mental without putting our ability to promote, to develop things on our own. The manual aspect of most of our education system is what undermines us. Most of us believe that when you finish school, you must have a job. No, education must open our minds to industry. What can I do? Can I be an entrepreneur myself? That is within the education system. So those are the things we must be working on, and please get ready for those kinds of things for the future. Small and medium entrepreneurs and taxes. Again, just to emphasize that for as long as we tax our own, we undermine our ability to grow industry. People who are sharp and wise tax foreigners more than the locals. You don't do it the other way around. If your people don't have money in their pockets, where do you think they'll find money to develop other business? I don't have to go into detail, but just know that if that happens, for us, if we go into there, according to our manifesto, we will tax the big boys who have got the money so that we can build our industries. Lives of people in rural areas. Let me begin by saying this, that the manifesto we have clearly states that we will devolve power from central government. What that effectively means is that we take power to the local people at their local level to be able to make decisions that affect them. How can you have a minister of local government controlling what is happening in Shamombo or Kaputa or Chama? What does he know about those places? Leave the locals to it. We will give them the money. We'll probably double the CDF so that people at local level can begin to develop the way they want to develop, not the way the people in Lusaka want them to develop. That is one of the reasons we are underdeveloped, because we do not allow our own people to think for themselves what are the best things they can do for themselves.
You may conclude. You may conclude.
Please, just remember that for a country to develop, it needs all its people to be working towards development. And that won't come until we give them the ability to do so at their local level. We will evolve this government if we go ahead.
Thank you so much. You might pass the microphone. Let us listen to Honorable Kapemba Simba within 2 minutes as well.
Yes, Mr. Ndonga, your question is unexpected. But I must say that our education system has failed in one way. Because as we train the students, we don't expose them to experience while on training. We don't send them to attachments as it used to be in the past. Because as we went to school ourselves, every long vacation, we were sent to an industry for attachment, where you now developed your practical side, not your theoretical side. That has stopped. We need to bring that back. Because that's why when a student graduates, they are completely lost when they go into a workplace. They are completely lost. And we need to do that. And as we do that, that's how we identify where do they fit properly. So that after graduation, those people that he was being attached to, already they know the person. They will take that person in. And that's what used to happen. That is not happening anymore. The school infrastructure is terrible. You know, most of us live in Lusaka, and we look at the schools in Lusaka and we think that's what is pertaining in the constituencies. You cry if you go and see what was infrastructure in the constituencies. They are so dilapidated that even the teacher going there is a shame, and they don't want to stay. So the first thing we must do is let's make the school infrastructure attractive everywhere, not just in towns. That won't help us. That encourages everyone to say, I went to this school. I've seen some very brilliant people from my constituency, distinction at university, and they don't want to tell you the school they went to, because the school they went to is a disaster when you look at it. When you find out and you say, my goodness, that school produced a person like this. So we need to really standardize this infrastructure. That way we shall encourage all these students to have everywhere.
You may conclude as well.
The SMEs, the taxes, I think this has to be relooked at. You know, taxes kills the economy. And it will take time for a government to understand that. Some of you in Trump's first president, you know, there's a time he offered that let's give people, everyone, free money so that they can go and spend it and let the economy run. We are killing this economy. People have no money. You have with Tumbo and they won't sell. So what do you do? So taxes kills business. We have to look at this. It's not the best or the only way to raise money for government. The issue of rural areas, you know, most of you have been to Botswana. A village has a bank, has a hospital, has all this infrastructure. A village, which we don't have here. Here we say village is a village, nothing. It's just a road that passes there. I think we have to change how we look at this and make sure that the villages mirror what they see here. It might not be at the same magnitude, but at least they have it also there. And that's the only way we can improve rural life. Alliances are a must, whether they like it. I mean, UPND came into power through an alliance. We don't know how much the other members contributed, but that's how strong they looked. So alliances, in the end, is a must. If you try to stay away from that, you're lost, you're gone. You lose. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are so grateful for those responses just given to the audience and the people watching the program. Remember, this debate is live on KBN TV as well as movie television. So it is always important to engage each other in such a manner. As we begin to conclude the program, allow me to exercise my little powers I have as a co-moderator to just invite one brother of mine who's got a burning question from the media. That's Conwell and Jose. Manu has been around for quite a while. You can come through, Jose.
I believe it's good afternoon. Mine is a very simple question directed to both candidates and probably the audience as well. Before I ask the question, maybe I would ask, do we all believe that tomorrow never comes? And if we do, why then should we vote for you two vis-a-vis the party if you're promising us a better tomorrow? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let us respond to that question alone, then we close the program. I'm sure it's a simple question. It's very difficult, right? So these are the two presidential candidates we have in the Zambia we want, and this is an intra-party debate we're having right now. Let's have Honorable Kapemba Simba.
So this is Mr. Konwelani?
Jose.
Joseph? I'm sorry to differ with you. I believe in tomorrow. I know I will be there tomorrow. And let me tell you something. If I'm not there, I won't know. What I believe in today is what I know. Wow. So I have to prepare for tomorrow, no matter what I see. So I differ with you. Tomorrow is very important. Maybe yesterday not so much. Today, yes. Tomorrow is very, very important. Or else I want to grow in my mind, in my everything that I do. So I'm sorry I have to differ with you.
Thank you.
Tomorrow. Who doesn't plan for tomorrow? We all do. If we die before tomorrow comes, that is another story. But it is there. And the only unwise people don't plan for it. That's why we are saying as a Zambia we want basically that we must create an institution called the Zambia we want, which must outlive all of us. If we are creating an institution that will die when we die, then there is no tomorrow. But I think there is tomorrow, and we must make sure that that tomorrow counts for our children and those who come after them. If there was no tomorrow, how do you expect to have children in the future? It's because it's there. But I want to also say this, that in planning for tomorrow, we plan to be better than who we are. Okay? No one plans to become worse. No one. So we plan for tomorrow because we want to see a better Zambia, the Zambia we want. There is a Zambia we have now, full of corruption, full of, I don't know what to say, but just wrong. Wrong Zambia. That is the Zambia we have. But we are saying the Zambia we want. When will it come? In the tomorrow, because we are anticipating an election in 2026. So there is something to look forward to. Don't lose heart. If they have made a mistake or mistakes, we shouldn't kick them because there is no tomorrow. We kick them out the moment the chance comes. It may not be us, we may be dead by then, but whoever comes as a Zambian must kick out anyone who undermines the development and growth of our country. That is the tomorrow. Oh, by the way, I didn't answer one question. Can I be allowed?
Yes, please.
Thank you. The last question.
Less than a minute.
Thank you. The last question was basically about the alliance. I always refer to our constitution, always. And if we do not refer to the documents we have created, we have no right to claim that we are people who will obey the law. Our constitution makes it very clear that we can enter into alliances. It's very clear. There's no one who is doing it because they want. We are doing it because we are compelled by our law to enter into alliances when it is necessary. But this is my departure, and this is coming from my experience with alliance. I do not want to enter into an alliance blindly like I did in the past. I want us who want this alliance to sit down around the table and agree on the terms and conditions of that alliance. Because I've also learned that what happens in an alliance is that those who create the alliance, that team, those leaders who create the political bureau of the alliance, usually are the only beneficiaries, and the party suffers. I will not want to see that happen. I want to know where my other party members will be in that alliance. I want to see it in writing in that alliance. Then you will carry me along. But to just go into an alliance because it's an alliance and we will kick out HH, I don't think that's fair to those who have trusted us through thick and thin, the people who may not have a chance to be on top. And that's all I'm saying. Let's look at whoever wants to do an alliance, but let's see what is there for those who are not going to be on the table where the cake is shared. That's all.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, and of course the audience out there, we've come to the end of this presidential aspirants debate, which is being organized by the Zambia We Want, a political party having its own intra-party elections. Of course, tomorrow is going to be a D-Day when they will be now electing their presidential candidate from the two gentlemen or fathers I have with me here. Now, I should make mention that what is being done here by having these intra-party elections is basically in line with the Zambian Constitution. Article 60 of the Republican Constitution mandates each and every political party to exercise intra-party elections. And that is what the Zambia We Want is basically demonstrating right now. But of course, when it comes to the intra-party debates, this should be the first time that we are witnessing the Republic of Zambia. Of course, I stand to be corrected by you, the viewers out here, and the audience right here in the room. But all in all, permit me to appreciate you, Honorable Simbao Kapembwa, or Kapembwa Simbao, for fronting yourself as one of the aspirants with a vision, the dream to run Zambia through the Zambia We Want. Come next year, we hope that you are going to be one of the presidential aspirants, if at all you'll be elected by the members you have in the audience here. Thank you so much and wish you all the best. The same vein, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to appreciate as well Honorable Ernest Mwansa there with a vast experience in matters of governance, who is also aspiring to take over the Zambia Want as the president. We hope that your vision, your dream will come to fruition as you'll be perhaps elected tomorrow if these members who decide so. And we hope that next year you'll be among the presidential candidates to contest the elections of next year. We wish you the best, and we will follow you again. To the organizing team of the Zambia We Want as well, allow me to appreciate you, Mr. Mohavi Lungu. You've been, working tirelessly together with Mr. George Chilumanda Ambassador, and of course other members who have been in the background. We can't mention you, but thank you so much for demonstrating that intra-party elections or democracy can be demonstrated or rather be promoted in such a manner by subjecting your presidential candidates to the cameras and not only electing people, in the dark, or perhaps electing them to go as unopposed. I think this should come to an end.